Foxclan publications. Stepping into the light.
Hello, everyone. This is Matt of the Authors Podcast, Stepping into the Light. I would just like to take a moment to ask everyone that is watching this video to like and to share and to also subscribe. That helps us out tremendously so that we can bring more people to our channel and get the message out about what we are doing here. It would mean a great deal to Wesley, Tim, Joe, and I if you would do that. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope you continue to tune in every week. Thank you, and our podcast is coming up next. Welcome to the Authors Podcast, Stepping into the Light. This is Matt, and we have here Wesley and Tim. Wesley, want to get us started?
Hey, welcome to another episode of Foxclan Publications, Walking to the Light. Not even really a guest, somebody else that's part of Foxclan Publications. My name is Tim Hibden. He's one of my best friends and my partner in crime when it comes to paranormal investigating for the last several years.
About 10 years.
Heck, has been about, oh wow. Thanks for making me feel old, Tim.
Tim, it's nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you too. Yeah, Matt, Wes has told me about you, what you do, what the things you've been trying to do. So, yeah, glad to meet you.
Yep, we're definitely aiming to encourage people to do it yourself, you know?
Oh, yeah, sure. I've never done a podcast, so this will be my first time, so this will be fun.
I've been telling Wesley that you guys need to come down to Cincinnati. One of my buildings is right across the street from the Spring Grove Cemetery, and I've had some experiences at the Spring Grove Cemetery, and I think it would be a worthwhile investigation because of that.
That sounds like a good plan, because Tim's got all the cool paranormal toys.
Yeah, got a truckload.
We might want to start including a picture of the cemetery when we release our podcasts so everyone can see it.
Alright, Tim, you want to tell us about your books?
Alright, I'm Tim Hinton. I live here in Winston, Iowa. Hometown of John Wayne. There's my deal for the day. I've been a paranormal investigator now for 10 years. Wesley Fox and I have done that. I'm part of Foxclan Publishing. I have 2 books that are out there right now that have been published. The first book, the name of it is called The Bird Tattoo. And it has to do with, I like history and suspense. I like mystery. I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan. So my book has to do with putting 5 people together in a situation that they normally wouldn't be in. When they're all from different parts of the world. 2 are from England, and 1 from Russia, and another one from Ireland, and another one from Romania. And at the time, this book is set in the 1800s. It has to do with Ryland Tournay as my main character. So it's Ryland Tournay Mysteries, or a series is what it goes by. I had a dream several times, and this dream several times. It was the same one that I could see like a half moon in the background in the dark. Eerie looking, and I could see these things flying around, and I thought they were birds. They wanted to be humans. They were able to fly. Well, my wife told me I needed to write a book, so I said, okay, I'll write a book, but I didn't know how. But I wrote it anyway and sent it to my publisher, and she confirmed I did not know how to write a book. So after I rewrote it, finally got it published. It has to do with history, suspense, murder, mayhem, and a twist of horror in the end of it. Ryland Tournay's wife gets kidnapped, and then it goes to the series of him trying to find his wife and involving up. And then through the process of doing that, it takes him into a lot of different countries, meeting these people as he goes along his way, which connects them all together. Because I believe even though people can't get along in the time frame, they come together for one reason. So that's what it mainly has to be about. But the facts are real, the places are real, the characters are fictional, and the people that create the end and the horror part of it, well, that's just what it is. They're people that have been manipulated by an evil scientist, so to speak, and they're given serums and actually So if people's skin's removed from one person and sewn into another, that's how they're able to fly. So I just gave the theory away there. Sorry about that. But that's how it's done. So it's really interesting. I like it doing it. And I'm called the bird tattoo again. You can find it on Amazon. My second book is called the voodoo doll tattoo. And it is a continuation of the first one. Like I said, it was a series. And it has to do with taking them to different places. I take them into South Africa, continent, and so forth, and then the mystery involved. It's all till there, and they're trying to catch this scientist to stop him from doing what he's doing. It sounds interesting because it is, but that's pretty much the premise of my books and what they do. Been a paranormal investigator for 10 years, like I said. Me and Wesley, we've been hanging out together for a long time. Been to a lot of places, investigated a lot of haunted places, seen a lot of things. I was kind of a skeptic when I first started. Wes and I met at the Branson Paranormal. He was a coordinator and gave the tours, and at the time in Branson, Missouri. They went on the tour with him, and we talked to each other, and we exchanged phone numbers. Well, comes out, I sent him a thing at Christmas time, said Merry Christmas. He answers back, who the hell is this? So I said, well, it's Tim. We talked about Alaska. And so he goes, oh, yeah, we're coming to Iowa to do an investigation. We'd like to go. So I said, okay. So I go there and do it. My skepticism on my first investigation, you take me somewhere demonic, of course. And so my skepticism pretty much fell out. So I've learned over time, and I've seen a lot of things that make you convinced that paranormal exists. And it's really interesting. I find it fascinating. I've been touched twice in my investigating career. I've seen shadows. I've heard stuff run beside me. I've seen shadows run down a hallway, go across hallways. I've heard people run beside me I couldn't see. I mean, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen stuff stand in the yard that wasn't supposed to be there. Strange things, a lot of strange things have happened. We got a lot of evidence. So that's my hobbies, I guess. So, I just recently got promoted where I'm at in my business. So I'm a utility supervisor for a major food chain. And so when you do this interview, they ask you, what are your hobbies? What do you do outside of work? So I told them I was a paranormal investigator. He said it was the most interesting lunch they've ever had. Usually it's hunting, fishing, everything else. So think about it. If you apply for a job, somebody tells you what your hobby is, tell them you're a ghost hunter. See what happens. You get quite the reaction, I'll tell you what. So, as far as that goes. But those are things, as far as that goes. But go back to my books. I have 3 more books written. I'm doing my own book covers, trying to get that started and get them out there so I can do it, keep my series going. My 3rd book is completed. My 4th one is almost completed. My 5th one is done. And then I'm also working forward to writing I've been dabbling on writing a serial killer book on how to trying to study serial killers and so forth, and trying to get a film noir, like a detective story that has to do with serial killing. So I've been dabbling with that a little bit in the background, trying to keep things going. So not a lot. I mean, I'm a normal person like everybody else. I assume I have nothing special. I am a part of the Civil War Trust Fund because I love Civil War. I think it's a great time in our history, and it's something we shouldn't forget about. History is one thing we should not forget. We should keep that in mind all the time. If we don't learn from it, we'll do it all over again, and it becomes history the second time. So, as far as that goes, Les and I have been friends for a long time, man. We met 2013, and we've been hunting ghosts ever since. So, we had a lot of fun. It's a good time. So, anyway, yes, I continue on my books. Like I said, it's a series. It's about Ryland Tournay. He's a leader, and I try to twist as much into it as I can because I love history. To no end, Christian. We're a Christian base. We do our investigating. We're Christian based, so I like to throw some Christian based facts into it. Use real places, use real towns, real railroads, stuff, so forth like that. So those are things I like to do. far as that goes. I hear Matt has a haunted cemetery that we need to go check out, apparently, which I'd look forward to that, as far as that goes.
The cemetery is ranked amongst one of the top haunted places here in Ohio, or at least one of them, as far as I know. And I have had some experiences that kind of indicate that's true. So it'd definitely be a great place to investigate. And people have claimed to hear the sound of devil dogs, to put the best description I can of it. The only thing I can say is that I do often hear howling and the sound of barking. Of course, that could be coyotes if you want to take it from a logical perspective, but I think nevertheless it is worth investigating at the very least.
Only one way to find out, let's go sit in the dark in the cemetery.
Yeah.
Where does that go? And that's the interesting part about ghost hunting too, if you think about it. We live in this 3D world where we see peripheral vision, we can see color, depth, everything like that. So then how does something walk beside us that we can't see it or we can hear it? But we cannot know it's there. So when you go into a building sometime, you walk in or go to someplace, you get that shiver up your back. Well, guess what? That could be energy. Something could have just walked by you. So think about that. That's a possibility. I get excited when that happens.
There's a building that I go into for my job that is kind of rat infested, and part of that's because they clean like aprons and like mats, mats, and uniforms to be exact. And there's a lot of crumbs and stuff that are in that attracts them. And like when I walk into that building, I feel like someone's watching constantly. It's an atmosphere, I guess you could say, that's in that building, and it's really weird.
Well, we all have a sense of paranormal. I mean, as far as that goes, everybody's sensitivity to a different level. So, my mom, she's like a rock. She don't see anything. She don't know nothing. Other people can sense things and feel. That's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I would say that I've had a few paranormal experiences, but nothing to the level of you and Wes. But like the building that's right across from the cemetery, the one that I'm suggesting you guys do, well, when I was in there one time, of course it's completely empty because I do security and that's what we do. We monitor empty buildings when no one is working. And I was walking through the building and I go into this concession area. And as I'm walking in there, I noticed that like these foam sheets, not like styrofoam, but the type that can like move, like the type they use for packing and shipping. Well, they were straight up in the air, like there was some kind of wind blowing. But I'm inside a building at that time, and so I obviously thought that was really strange because there's no wind there. Well, I also had noticed as I went back to the back of the concession area that the door opened on its own, all by itself. And so I looked back and I saw it wide open for no reason whatsoever. And of course that kind of freaked me out because I was like, okay, what's that about? Why'd the door open on its own? Because it's a motion sensor. So I immediately decide, hey, it's time to get out of here. This is a bit too much. And so as I'm walking towards the alarm system, because I have to reset the alarm before I can leave, I'm walking and I just kind of say out loud, this building seems like it's haunted. And as soon as I say that, I hear a loud air horn go. So I immediately went to the door and set the alarm as fast as I could and got the heck out of there.
I went to get that crap right. Yeah. We went, Wes and I investigated one time. We were down in Mount Vernon, Missouri, investigated a farm. And we were out the back and people were having problems with they say their mother was being levitated in the bed, so forth. And we went there, they were asking for help, private resident. So we go there, and I'm standing out in the yard. When my daughter went with us one time, Chandra was with us. Out in the yard, and I was standing dead to the property, and I looked out in the yard, and I'm staring at the stump, that big stump out in the yard. My daughter asked, "What are you looking at?" I said, "This stump in the yard." She goes, "Dad, there's no stump there." I went, "Yeah, there is a great big stump right there. I can see it. It's a broken tree." She goes, "There's nothing in the yard." And I felt like it kept telling me to take a step forward, and I wouldn't do it. and looked at my daughter, looked back, and this great big stump I thought was there was gone. So there was something standing in the yard looking at us, and that was one of my first experiences with seeing a dark shadow actually 20 feet from me looking back at me. Wow, that's a scary thing. That's as scary as your horn going off. Let me tell you what. I did not expect it. I thought I was looking at a snapped off tree in the yard. So we have seen some pretty weird stuff during our investigations over the past. We were in a hotel. We heard somebody run beside us. We heard the footsteps and heard the floor. We actually felt the floor vibrate like a footstep running by, and that clothes swishing together, and there was nobody there. But we did hear it. I think we have that evidence on an EVP. So, I've seen some pretty weird stuff. Some places are real haunted and so on.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes when you go to a place where there was activity before, a place that you have deemed to be haunted, well, when you go back there, you find out that there's no activity whatsoever, and it's just weird how that happens.
Well, that's true too. That's a big thing. Fairfield Infirmary up in Lancaster, Ohio. I don't care when you go there, you're going to get activity. I've been there 3 times, and every time I go in, there's something's happening. We've heard a lot of stuff in that building. Screams and voices and people banging on the walls. Oh yeah, that place. Yeah, you want to go there? You want to go somewhere? Go there. That's a haunted building.
I think Wesley and Nikki actually live streamed from there one time, if I remember correctly, because I watched it.
They did.
But I didn't catch them live. I watched it after the fact, but it was very interesting.
Correct. Yeah, they got a figure standing down in the morgue, actually, in the background. That's pretty cool. Yeah, we could not recreate it. We could not get that figure to come back, nor could we recreate it. So that was a really cool footage. That was really good evidence. And it's hard to get that evidence. It really is.
You have to remain patient, don't you?
You have to be very patient. Yeah, very much so. And the reason why you go at night is because when it's quiet, it's dark, and the world actually is quieter, things happen. It's just prevalent, but if it's haunted, it's haunted. It don't matter what time of day. It's haunted. It's true. And you talked about Felicity earlier. We've been there a couple times. It's haunted as well. We've had experiences there. There aren't too many places we haven't gone to. We haven't got some kind of personal experience, if nothing else. So
I fully believe that the supernatural is a real thing. I always have believed in, the evidence that Wesley has shown me is very, very compelling. But
it is very compelling.
Think about some of the experiences described. I think back to my time editing Wesley's book. Editing his book allowed me to get some time to read some of his stories, and the stories were both his experiences and also some writings about experiences throughout history. So I got to, learn a little bit about some of those experiences. One story that stuck out to me when I was reading through his books was the one where Nikki got attacked.
Oh, we were in McConnellsville, Ohio, at the Twin City Opera House when that happened. Yeah, down the basement. Yeah, she started getting scratched on her face. Yeah, she didn't provoke anything, but it actually kind of attacked her. Yeah, sure did.
When you mention being touched by the spirits, it makes me think of situations in Hollywood movies where people get touched and then they get some kind of burn, whether it's a heat burn or cold burn. Is there any truth to that? Does that actually happen, or is that just something from Hollywood?
Yeah, when Nikki got McConnellsville, she was actually starting to get red marks on her face. So yeah, she was actually getting scratches, and the red marks were starting to appear on her forehead and on one of her cheeks, on her face, yeah, on her left cheek. So yeah, that did happen there. My experience of being touched is I got pushed one time in the hallway, and that was in Fairfield Infirmary. I got pushed in the hallway, and then another time I was sitting in a chair. We were doing an EVP session, and something was rubbing the calf of my leg, just just ever so slightly, just back and forth. I could take their hand and just rub my leg. So, but I never had a mark from any of that. But yeah, Nikki did get marks on her face. Those are things that we have to watch out for. Things you got to be careful of. Because, like I said, we can't see it. We don't know it's there until something like that happens.
Right. That would be a scary moment because, honestly, what could you actually do? I mean, it's something that you can't see. What could you do about it?
So the best thing you can do is try to get out of that area or get away from what's attacking you, or stay away from it, because otherwise it's just going to get worse. It possibly get worse, I should say. Yeah, I have seen that. Yep.
Well, Tim, anything else that you'd like to share today?
No, I think I'm pretty good for the way it is. I mean, I appreciate you doing this. I've never done a podcast before, so I think it's interesting. I always wonder what it'd be like to be on one or try to do one. No, I tell you though, I am getting my third book cover done. I will have my third book out here pretty soon. They're all about tattoos. My next one's called The Gargoyle Tattoo, but it's still a series of books. It still follows to the premise of what I started. My dreams. So,
Yeah, well, we definitely look forward to hearing more about that one. Where can people find your books that are currently out at?
my books are on Amazon. Look under my name and the title of the book, or the title of the book, either one, and you'll find them. There's the Voodoo Doll Tattoo, is my second book, and the Bird Tattoo is my first book. So I suggest you get the first one because they are a series. You follow through it. So.
Okay, and Wesley and I are still looking into how we can set up an audiobook for all of our books. It does open up a lot of options as far as like people that aren't really all that interested in sitting down and reading a book, because a lot of people have told me they would be fine if they could just listen to it.
Yeah, some of the people I work with asked me if I did audiobook because that's what they like to do. Is actually, they'd rather sit here and be read to them than read it. Yes, correct.
It's easier for a big company like a publishing company to do an audiobook, and that's because Audible itself is very strict. You have to have specific requirements and a specific sound, and there's a little bit of technical jargon that goes into it, but if it doesn't turn out just right, they'll reject it, and then you'll have to redo everything, which is a lot of time, a lot of work. So that's the problem.
No, I've never looked into audiobooks, so I didn't know that.
But once we figure it out, the audiobooks will be great for all of us, especially if we can offer recording audiobooks for people.
It will. I agree. So, what is your book about? What do you do?
That's a good question, and we're actually going to go over my book next week because we're going to do an interview fashion like we're doing today. But just bringing it up, I can give a small overview, not to give away next week, but to give kind of a sneak peek at it. But one day I was driving around for my job. I do patrol, and I heard this story of this young woman who just, she got murdered in a very brutal and just twisted fashion. And when I heard the story, it completely broke my heart. It was just so sad. And there's even like a clip of this murder. And there's a lot of people contesting it, but during this whole situation, a voicemail was left on someone's phone. It was her friend's phone. The girl that was killed, her friend's phone. When they went back and reviewed this voicemail, it sounded like it's possible that was the actual murder itself happening. There's a lot of things about that voicemail that tells me it is, and that's just simply because you can hear her screaming for her life and begging for them to stop hitting her. And you can hear her go, "Ow!" really loud, and you can hear names drop. These are the names of people that she knew. And the problem with this particular case is that the voicemail was received at the wrong time. Like, it gave the wrong timestamp, which was actually a common problem for the phone that she had. I don't know the exact model, but Anyways, that voicemail was not used as evidence, which has made the case so far unsolved, even though there's been an arrest. So, after hearing this case, I thought to myself, well, what if, there was a man who was sent back in time to stop murders from happening before they happen, and this person would have to solve the case without giving away that A, he's from the future, B, that he's there to solve a case, and C, without telling any of the people what's going on. He has to let things run their course and intervene at just the right time. So with these rules, he has to find a way to stop the murder from happening. And that's just a quick overview. I'll go more into detail next week, though. So that little overview doesn't really give the picture of my book, and of course we'll discuss that next week. And I really appreciate you asking about it. We're here to support each other for sure, but I'm really interested in learning more about your book after talking to you today.
Thank you. Yeah, it said it was all about a dream. And when he tries to find his kidnapped wife, it leads him to different places in Europe and around the world, and they wind up in America, but the people that he run across in doing so all become, I try to intertwine how they all become together and how it all works, and it winds up being they all involved in it in one thing. So, if they find her not, you'll have to read the book. Sorry, I'm not saying it.
All right. Well, don't give it away. That's right. Of course. That's the fun of reading, right? You can discover it as you go along. Yeah.
Exactly.
Very cool. Well, I look forward to doing more of these podcasts with you.
Thank you
for sharing a little bit about your story.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. I'll talk. If we do this again, I'll talk more about my second book and what it's about. Try to delve into my first a little bit more if we need to.
Sounds like a plan. You're always invited on our podcast, by the way. So,
thank you.
Like if we're doing a podcast and you want to join in, you're in. Okay, so.
All right, well, let me know.
All right. Very cool.
So Wesley, I know you just wanted to host today, so you've been very quiet while we discussed this. But anything you would like to bring up, you're definitely open to do so now.
Our next one is going to be me and him interviewing you.
Yeah, that should be fun. And you all have a great night, and I'll talk to you again soon, Wesley.
All right, we'll talk to you next episode. Next episode will be Tim and I interviewing you about your book in detail. So be ready.
Get your questions ready, I guess. Alrighty. See you then.
All right. See you then, bub.
All right. Thank you. You have a good one. All right.
Thank you.